GamingBolt presents 15 greatest modern video game endings that totally didn't suck. Game endings are tough to handle. It's the moment of culmination, the finale for a player's epic adventure, and failing to deliver a satisfying conclusion can tarnish a fun experience. However, most modern games, from the PS3 and the Xbox 360 to the PS4 and the Xbox One, have featured some unforgettable endings to their tales. Whether your favorite is mentioned or not, let's take a look at 15 of the greatest modern video game endings that totally didn't suck. Red Dead Redemption. Much has been said about the last stand of John Marston. Marston is essentially forced to hunt down members of his old gang. At stake is his family, no thanks to the government. Eventually, even after completing his task, Marston is assaulted by the government and fights to the death so that his family may survive. Years later, Jack Marston finds his father's murderer and promptly exacts revenge. From Marston's brief moment of solace to his sacrifice and Jack avenging him, Red Dead Redemption's ending ranks among the best. Halo Reach. The promo material said it all. From the beginning, we already knew the end. Halo Reach's ending was more than that though. Noble Six brings Cortana to the Pillar of Autumn, and Emil, the last squadmate, falls to the elites. From there, Six fights off overwhelming numbers of Covenant, the helmet visor cracking until eventually falling to the ground. Cut to several decades later, where Six's helmet is still on the ground as Reach thrives again. Say what you will about Halo's story, but Halo Reach made us care about these doomed souls more than anything else. Journey. That game company's Journey has received universal acclaim for a number of reasons, not the least of it being its story. The overall arc can be condensed into the age-old addendum of it being more about the journey than the destination. Throughout your adventure, you deal with a harsh environment, delving deeper into the mystery of the mountain in the distance. When it's all said and done, you're back to where you began. However, that extra element of playing with a stranger, exploring this bleak yet beautiful world, and ultimately cherishing that time spent together is unmatched in terms of endings. The Last of Us. Violence and love collide in the most heartbreaking fashion in The Last of Us. The entire game is about Joel, a smuggler, transporting Ellie to the Fireflies. Since Ellie is immune to the infection gripping the world, there's the assumption that she can form the basis for a cure. However, while she's being prepped for surgery, Joel is informed that the infected part of her brain must be removed to create a vaccine. It's not Joel's violent rampage to save Ellie that affected us, or his insistence to her later that nothing happened. It's the bond that had been formed between a parent and child that extends beyond the reins of a simple video game, which ultimately connected us to the ending. Grand Theft Auto V. Murder is nothing new in Grand Theft Auto V, with the entire game serving as a diatribe on capitalist America with its obsession for new age practices, reality television, video games, and control. At first, it seems like a crime saga, when heist man Michael comes out of retirement to pay off some debts with his new pal Franklin. Unfortunately, Michael's past comes back to haunt him in the form of Trevor, and the revelation that he sold out his gang eventually emerges. The ending is all about family and how the three eventually rise up against everyone, breaking free of any control. TELLTALE'S The Walking Dead Season 1. From the get-go, it's obvious that your decisions in The Walking Dead Season 1 carry some weight. Lee Everett and Clementine form a bond from the beginning, but it doesn't always go so smooth. The same can be said of many other characters, and at times, you can decide who lives and dies. By the end, as Lee is dying and set to become a zombie, he tells Clem to keep that hair short. After all the trials they endured, to finally see Lee fall hit us deep. Thankfully, Clementine carried on, growing stronger, or at least more resilient in the process. Tales from the Borderlands. The sheer humor and insanity of the Borderlands universe is translated into a deeply satisfying narrative in Tales from the Borderlands. In an epic climax that sees familiar vault hunters like Claptrap, Zero, and Athena, among others, fighting against the Traveler, the ending ultimately feels like it will take away the lovable Sasha. Thankfully, that isn't the case. The fate of Reese and Fiona is left unknown, but that open-ended spirit of adventure helps us appreciate the ride all the same. Inside. Inside's story operates on a wordless narrative much like Playdead's Limbo. At the outset, it seems to be about a boy and how he helps a grotesque blob escape from a laboratory where humans are being controlled. Oddly enough, the boy can control these humans at certain points as well. There's even an alternate ending where you can shut off the boy entirely. Basically, the entire game is about control and how the blob is reaching out to the player to manipulate the boy and ultimately gain freedom. What is control? Inside's ending continues to tease us with that question. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. While its fantasy trappings may not be entirely original, there's no denying the catharsis found in The Witcher 3's happiest ending. Geralt's led a hard life, but he loved Ciri, doing everything in his power to save her. The very thought of losing her threatened to tear Geralt apart, and eventually does if you earn the bad ending. By the end, however, Ciri becomes a witcher and Geralt settles down with his true love. Various other incidents, like Imhir's death, Radovid punishing non-humans, etc., could occur based on decisions throughout the game, and they made your choices feel all the more organic. Life is Strange. Don't Nod's time-traveling adventure polarized players with its ending, which is ironic considering the final episode was called Polarized. In the ending, Max has to choose between saving Chloe or sacrificing her to save the town due to her powers causing the tornado that's threatening it. Ultimately, the best ending is achieved by going back to episode 1 and not saving Chloe, thus ensuring her death. In a way, this is a commentary on adulthood. Sometimes living with the choices you make is as important as trying to make a difference. Max's memories with Chloe and her influence on Max also prove that no one who's dead is ever truly gone. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. With all the shenanigans that Nathan Drake had been up to throughout the first 3 games, Uncharted 4: A Thief's End felt like a wake-up call. Ultimately, while the game didn't see Nathan's action leading to his life collapsing, it presented a completely different outcome. Believe it or not, it is possible to find a happy balance between adult responsibilities and doing what you love. Cassie's reveal at the end further proved that the essence of adventure could live on, even as Drake and Elena had their happy ending. Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriots. Forget about the nanomachines, the memes, the VR experiments, and the Patriots. Metal Gear Solid 4 was about Snake being his own person. The end saw Liquid Ocelot defeated and Snake ready to commit suicide before Big Boss intervenes, addressing Snake as his son and telling him to let it go. After explaining how the Patriots were formed, Big Boss removes Major Zero from the equation by turning off his life support and killing him, and tells Snake to find a new reason to live before eventually succumbing to Fox Die. Metal Gear Solid 4 had plenty of highlights, but the passing of Big Boss and Solid Snake finally being free from the baggage of war stood above the rest. Mass Effect 2. In Mass Effect 2, Shepard wasn't exactly the badass Spectre that took down Saren. On facing the Collector, Shepard was outright killed and had to be resurrected by Cerberus. The suicide mission is the culmination of Shepard's efforts to thwart an overwhelming foe, introducing the very real possibility of never seeing these memorable characters or Shepard ever again. Of course, the ending itself with the Reapers en route to Earth also set a very haunting tone for what would follow, making you doubt once more whether Shepard could overcome the odds. Assassin's Creed 4: Black Flag. The story of Edward Kenway isn't one of revenge. From losing Mary Read to assassinating Templars, Edward eventually finds himself looking back on his enemies and friends, drinking together and having a jolly good time. In the beginning, it was made clear that Edward left his wife to seek riches. By the end, he meets his daughter and learns that his wife had passed. Edward reconciles with his daughter in a touching moment that meanders between redemption and rejuvenation, heralding a new beginning. The third game may have been half-baked, but the ending for Assassin's Creed 4: Black Flag is one of the very best from Ubisoft in a long time. Portal 2. Just the fact that Chell survived all of the nonsense of the first Portal only to fall into GLaDOS' clutches again tells you that she just cannot catch a break. In a twist, however, GLaDOS and Chell have to work together to defeat Wheatley, opening a portal to the moon to finally dispense the AI for good. Finally, GLaDOS removes any and all compassion she had for Chell and settles on simply expelling her for good. While Chell's fate is left open to interpretation, there are many theories that have arisen regarding the mysterious field. GLaDOS tossing the companion cube after you feels like an emphatic conclusion to this feud. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.